saw it. I know it's there.
What the heck is that?
In 1997, these pictures of a large ape-like creature were taken by the respected fire chief of Ochapee, Florida, Vince Dorr. Hundreds of eyewitness sightings of similar-looking creatures have surrounded this wilderness for centuries.
It come out of the swamp toward me right to the sunlight, you know.
It's there. Go find it. It's there.
Described as 6 to 8 foot tall, slightly stooped, with long arms, a massive torso, reddish-brown fur, and giving off a foul odor. Aptly named the Florida skunk ape. Can cutting-edge science finally prove the skunk ape is real, or is it just an elaborate hoax?
This swamp is an unforgiving place. One misstep and I could end up in the jaws of an alligator or a poisonous snake, or worse. But if I'm going to encounter this creature, I may have to go it alone.
Was alone when he had his unforgettable encounter, one of dozens who tell an eerily similar story.
Happened to notice this something moving through the swamp, and by the time I seen what it was, whatever it was seen me, it came over to where I was at, because I know what I saw, you know, regardless of what you believe or not now, you know.
To many, Burt Rollins' story is impossible to believe. To Autumn Williams, it is impossible to ignore.
Matt, do you copy?
Autumn Williams is a nationally known cryptozoologist and field researcher, a specialist in the search for as yet undiscovered species.
Monsters are my life. For over 13 years, I've compiled thousands of reports of skunk apes and other unknown hominid creatures. Many encounters are brief sightings by credible people with nothing to gain by telling their stories. My job is to collect the evidence, and if they exist, to attempt to document my own face-to-face encounter.
You gotta be a little careful where you go here. It's kind of like a jungle.
Tracks for the boundary.
Autumn's team of scientists, technicians, and researchers have struggled to bring more than 3 tons of technology to these remote woods.
Yeah, I might wait for you.
We've trimmed some trees, so if you think you can do it, we're probably ready.
It seems like everything in this swamp bites. Alligators, poisonous snakes, mosquitoes. Even the plants have razor-sharp thorns. And most of our research is conducted in the dark, when skunk apes are most often sighted. That doesn't leave a lot of room for error, and I worry about the safety of the crew and myself.
So that's when I saw the swamp ape.
What the heck is that? Betty, wake up. I just saw a skunk ape.
The Encounters team is in a remote area of the Florida Panhandle, about 60 miles southeast of Pensacola. The target, a 20,000 square acre chunk of impenetrable swamps, deadly animals, and people say, home of the skunk ape.
There have been hundreds of eyewitness accounts here, dating back as far as the 1700s, and they're all alike. An inquisitive, large, ape-like creature with matted reddish-brown hair, and, of course, a terrible odor, leading to a name that was earned, the skunk ape.
Autumn and her team are struck by the remarkable consistency of the accounts throughout the decades and continuing today.
He saw something crossing the road and eating on a roadkill, which is...
The eyewitness testimony you are about to hear is real and chilling.
It was between 5 and 5:15, and I was listening to the Bee Gees. And I was following the tracking trail, and I was coming down 95 this side of Constable Billy on Springs exit. I saw something cross behind the lights. That's when I saw the swamp ape cross the road.
What the heck is that? Betty, wake up. I just saw a skunk ape. Wake up, Betty.
I saw it. I know it's there. And don't y'all, please, I'll say it again, don't quit. They're here.
What makes his testimony so exciting to us as scientists is that it's a fresh encounter, recent enough that there may still be physical evidence at the scene. You think maybe there's a barbed wire fence there or something where we can look for hair samples?
Yes, I can take you to the right spot. And there is a barbed wire fence there.
And if it's there, we'll find it.
Everybody needs to take like a particular portion of the fence, so...
If you see any hairs on there, don't touch them. We've got a DNA collection kit. We're going to use tweezers, put it in sterile alcohol to preserve it, maybe get DNA out of it.
So why doesn't everybody take, like, between the fence posts, take 3 sections? You know, I don't think the thing can just step over it. Is that a spider web? Yeah, it's spider web. Would they jump it, or would they do...
Or would they just step over?
I mean, what would you do if you had a fence this tall? Exactly.
Well,
so this is the exact spot?
What Tim marked this tree to be able to find his way back here. Tim put surveyor tape. They didn't see it cross the fence. They didn't see it go up over the fence. But since this is all open, it's logical to assume that it would have.
What is it?
It's plant material.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There was nothing on the barbed wire fence. One hair.
I just don't see anything. I mean,
Just one hair would have been enough to send off to the lab.
A single strand of hair can provide DNA evidence, real scientific proof. But what about a photograph? In 1997, Okeechobee Fire Chief Vince Dorr snapped a picture of an ape-like creature as it crossed the road near his home. Skunk ape researcher Tim Cullen may have the best evidence to date that the skunk ape is real. In addition to the Vince Dorr photo, Cullen also has a clear close-up of a strange creature taken by an unknown photographer, dubbed the Mayaka ape.
The photos Tim brought us are intriguing, but are they authentic? Or one more carefully orchestrated hoax? What we need is hard scientific evidence. Better yet, we need our own clear close-up moving video images.
It's interesting, but I already see some issues with this one.
this one's not real clear.
If they are to get those images of a skunk ape, the Encounters team must somehow strip away the creature's natural defenses.
Until now, the forest at night was the perfect cover for a skunk ape, but not anymore. Now, high-tech equipment may actually give us a shot at getting the evidence we need.
Thermal imaging, so sensitive, it can record temperature differences as tiny as a fraction of a degree from hundreds of yards away. The team will unleash this weapon high above the dense forest, sending a sort of X-ray vision through the undergrowth to detect the presence of anyone, of anything, alive and moving down below.
These things are not going to be able to hide from this camera.
They can't hide.
The team will also employ a specially designed array of infrared night vision cameras, able to record a detailed image in total darkness.
And after we install the camera, we'll probably put some scent, like some deer scent or something, over it to mask, or just some scent mask on there.
And they will attempt to lure a creature by playing tapes eyewitnesses say are the actual sounds of similar creatures they encountered in the past. The planning is precise, the preparation painstaking, and still the Encounters team will be in for a huge surprise.
You can't pull off on the side of the highway for 3 minutes and put your flashers on and pretend we're having a problem or I have to pee.
We all looked as soon as you said, look.
For centuries, sightings of terrifying 6 to 8 foot tall creatures have been recorded in Florida. The mysterious Encounters team is at the scene of Burt Rollins' recent sighting, with motion-activated night vision cameras on the ground and thermal imaging cameras high above. They are seeking scientific evidence that the skunk ape is real. Some people already have all the evidence they need. Eyewitness Burt Rollins.
I am kind of upset that science ain't really got aggressive with the search of these things. Scientists probably don't believe witnesses. I don't drink, I don't take drugs. According to the doctor, I'm in real good health, you know, mentally and physically. And why they don't take my word for something, I have no idea. Someone in a costume in this area that's so snaky and boggy and stuff like that would be taking their life in their own hands, you know, wading in a swamp.
And what were you doing in the area at the time?
I was fishing.
You're fishing? Okay. Tell me about your sighting. Just kind of go over it if you would.
I was fishing off the Scambia River up in this swampy area and happened to notice something moving through the swamp. By the time I seen what it was, whatever it was seen me, and it had to wade out in water about waist deep.
What the heck?
It stopped, looked at me for a minute or so. I was so startled I didn't know what to do. Then it turned, went about its way. It appeared not to be afraid, you know, and I never told anyone about this. The old saying goes, seeing's believing, so what I seen, I believe.
Burt Rollins is a credible eyewitness, ex-military, and no reason to believe he's making this up. The more I hear from people like him, the more I am driven to investigate. Chimpanzees and other primates use wood banging as a form of communication. Many skunk ape eyewitnesses report hearing these sounds as well. Our team will use this technique in the field in an attempt to elicit a response.
Well, turkey hunting, you send the sound out and you wait for it to come back.
After only a moment, the team hears a return knock.
Matt did it 3 times. The other knock was just one single knock.
Were there 2?
Just one. I only heard one.
I heard 2.
Interesting.
It went conk, conk.
Sounded like a couple pieces of wood hitting together.
The knocking sound that I heard could have been something from the road. Not sure. We can try and get it again though.
Yeah, it sounded exactly like what Matt was doing. A couple 2x4s slapping together.
Here comes a car. Okay, listen. I'll be darned, you're right.
See, that's tire sound.
Okay, but...
No, it wasn't a tire sound we heard. No, definitely wasn't. I heard the tire sound too, but it didn't come from that direction.
What? Are there coyotes down here, Vince? We're gonna blast some sounds.
In a moment, the team will attempt to communicate with a skunk ape in yet another way. But first, is there any other evidence this night that a creature is nearby?
There she goes. There goes off to the wild black yonder.
You know, the neat thing about this is that we can surveil thousands of acres at a time, silently.
Look at that. It's just so stunning. We're going. The further you look away, you see it's having to look through all the moisture in the air. So there's temperature. It's blurring the temperature.
The thermal camera is doing its job, cutting through the darkness and the forest canopy. The team is excited until the fog rolls in. Will it clear before the night is over?
It's not a good night for
Encouraged by the wood knocking, they now turn to the call blaster. This incredibly sophisticated sound system can isolate and broadcast frequencies no human can hear. If there is a skunk ape within 10 miles, the call blaster will reach it.
we'll sit here and wait for a while. We may or may not hear various types of animals calling back. What types of animals down here? What's the full list of things we want to hear?
Coyotes.
But there's obviously not that many because that usually gets the coyotes calling when we blast something like that.
The sounds we broadcast are actual recordings of what eyewitnesses say are unknown primates similar to a skunk ape. We hope that we can use these sounds to lure one of the creatures to us.
Will it work? And what if it does?
Just went past the Bonifay exit. This is the Chipley exit, though, right?
Suddenly, as the team changes locations, an unexpected sighting along the freeway.
I see eyes right up here. I don't know if it's a deer or what. Right here, right here, right here, right here, right here. Look down.
Has the call blaster lured a skunk ape to this area?
Something, there was eyes. Did you see it?
I've seen a lot of stuff.
Say down here looking for a skunk ape.
Okay.
I tell you I see eyes. Listen to me when I tell you I see eyes.
There's not much we can do about it, A. And B, odds are, if we're shining our headlights and you're seeing reflection of eyes off of a more common animal.
Well, that's fine, except it was like down in the ravine, and the eyes were showing up above bushes that were about 5 feet tall. Go figure.
Could have been a deer. What I thought was, let's continue on. If there's a good spot there, we can always come back.
Yeah, when was the last time you saw a deer whose neck was up 5 feet?
Well, you don't know exactly how tall the bushes were.
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3.
Autumn turns the crew around and returns to the scene of her sighting. She has made a determined decision. She will go solo into the woods.
This swamp is an unforgiving place. One misstep and I could end up in the jaws of an alligator or poisonous snake, or worse. But if I'm going to encounter this creature, I have to go it alone. I saw the figure beside the road. I saw the eyes reflecting in the ditch. With a credible sighting right here less than 6 weeks ago, this feeling that I'm being watched may not be a feeling at all, but a fact.
Will Autumn have her own encounter? What evidence, if any, was collected by our surveillance equipment? And is this photo the most compelling existing evidence of a skunk ape? The answers when we return.
I have studied the Vince Dorr photo from Florida.
It has been a harrowing and exhausting 4 days for the Encounters team. But has it been rewarding? Remember, Autumn and the Encounters team came to these remote northwest Florida woods searching for scientific evidence of the legendary skunk ape. For decades, eyewitnesses have described seeing a 6 to 8 foot tall creature. Could cutting-edge science finally put some proof behind the legend? 15 infrared motion-activated cameras, as well as the Flotavision thermal camera unit, recorded over 250 hours of video. After painstakingly reviewing every single tape, team members concluded every encounter scene was with an identifiable animal native to this forest. No sign of a skunk ape on these images. But what about the existing photographic evidence? Skunk ape researcher Tim Cullen provided us with several compelling photos. The first picture, taken by Ochapi Fire Chief Vince Dorr, and the other picture, taken by an unknown photographer near Myakka, Florida, is clear and close up. But is it real? Bruce Maccabee is one of the world's leading experts on optics and imagery.
I have studied the Vince Dorr photo, ostensibly of a so-called skunk ape from Florida. I don't think there's enough evidence right now to conclude that it was a hoax. There isn't much you can say other than it has a general shape of a humanoid creature. Now here's the Myakka Park skunk ape. If this was a person in a costume, there'd be a little gap between where the edge of the eye holes is in the costume and the person's actual eyes. But why doesn't it show like what would be the white of the eye and then a black spot in the center? It's unfortunate that in this case, we don't know who the photographer was, characteristics of the camera and so on. So I guess the bottom line from the point of view of a photo analyst is there are still questions to be answered. I can't say one way or another just by looking at these pictures whether it's real or a hoax.
I believe there is more to this story. Still, as scientists, we didn't get the hard proof we need. Someday, perhaps someone will. In the meantime, the Encounters team and the Bounder are off to investigate the mysterious encounter of yet another unknown animal.